What would you say if I were to tell you that I found a remote wilderness fly-in fish camp that insists that you treat their cabins the same way you would treat your own cottage? Come and go as you please, fish as much or as little as you want, and eat on your own schedule. Well, I found this place. It's called Nagagami Lodge, and it's in Algoma country in Ontario, Canada. We're on the hunt for trophy northern pike and giant wild brook trout. The adventure starts next on The New Fly Fisher.
The New Fly Fisher has been made possible thanks to Algoma Country, GoFishinOntario.com, Orvis Sporting Traditions, Scientific Anglers, Umpqua Feather Merchants, Superfly, fly fishing made easy.
Off the beaten path, secluded, remote. Words that describe Nagagami Lodge to a T.
We're considered remote tourism, so that means we're unique. The lake can only be accessed by air. That makes it that much more private when people come in and fish the area.
Pullen's Nagagami Lodge is located a short bush plane ride from the small town of Hornpain, Ontario. It's a fly-in fish camp specializing in northern pike, walleye, jumbo perch, and whitefish.
All the cabins are very well appointed and fully equipped. The guests need not bring anything except their food and their clothing and their fishing gear. Everything is in the cabin, and if we've overlooked anything, we insist they let us know because we want to make sure they have a good vacation.
This lodge is a hospitality-style lodge, which means you cook all your own meals on your own schedule. You can come and go as you please, fish as much or as little as you like, and the fishing is fantastic. Fishing with me today is longtime Nagagami angler Don DeBurr. Don and his son have been coming to Nagagami for years and know the lake intimately.
Where are you from?
Central Michigan, Cadillac area. I've come up here for about 40 years.
Really?
Fishing, but about, this is my 13th year on this lake.
So you know this lake intimately?
Yeah, pretty well.
That's great.
We'll check this bay out.
Yeah.
This is about 9 to 11 feet of water in here.
Okay. We flew over this afternoon and it looked really pikey.
Yeah.
Super pikey. Well, I'm excited. I've heard a lot about this lake. I've heard that there's some really big pike in here and a bunch of other game fish, so this should be right on. So what we're doing here now as we approach our first bay of the day is we're not sure exactly where these fish are holding. We're sitting in 3 or 4 feet of water, and what I like to do is basically just fan cast and see, try different depths and see where they might be. I see some of last year's cattails hanging out over here. Throw to them. You got some pinweed coming up here, throw to that. And sure enough, sooner or later the pike are gonna hit, and it's gonna tell you what depth they're sitting at and where you should actually start focusing your attention. It looks like it's a sharp drop, like an undercut bank kind of situation there too.
It is, yeah. It goes from grass to 3 feet.
Fish on. Woo! Little guy. You know what though? First one of the trip. Can't complain. Totally acrobatic. Look at that. That's fun. I pulled this fish out of the grass, and he came at it, and I pulled it away from him. wasn't actually paying attention too well. And he came back and took it. So it's not a giant, but you know what? Number one. Pike fishing is very popular for a number of reasons, but one of the greatest reasons why it is so popular is because of the voracious strikes that pike give. They are predatory, they're hungry, and they attack often without mercy. As voracious as pike are, they're also very curious. Oftentimes, they'll simply follow a bait all the way to the boat. I actually had a fish today that was, if this was my fly, the fish was swimming directly underneath the fly as I was retrieving it. It was fascinating. But without polarized sunglasses, I would never have been able to see that. I would never know that the pike was in the right zip code. Not only that, they often take a swipe at your fly. Without the proper eyewear, you would never see that. When you see a fish take a swipe at your fly, it's important, number one, that you get it right back out into the right area where that fish came from. Because chances are, if they saw it once and came after it, they'll come after it again. To that, you have to remember what pike eat. They eat walleye, perch, bass. They eat fish with fins and fish with dorsal spines. So oftentimes, I bet you 100% of the time, they go to eat a walleye or a perch and they actually do get stung in the mouth. So just because you've pricked a fish with your fly doesn't mean that you've spoiled that fish. Get that fly back into the right strike zone and you've got a great chance of hooking it again. There's a good fish. Good pike. Oh yeah, that's a good fish. That's a big one. That's a big fish, man. Just a voracious take in the shallow water, pushing a lot of water. You know, pike don't fight long, but what they do is they fight extremely hard for a short period of time. And generally when you think they're done, there's one more little rush.
Nice fish.
Not too bad at all.
Look at the scars on this one. He's been either doing battle or getting beat up. Nice fish.
Let's take a look, Don. Nice fish. Very good one. All right, let's get him back, get him revived a bit. Look at that. The water's cold enough that he just takes right off. The thing I like about these fish is that you really do need to fish your fly right back to the boat because they really like to follow, and just as you're about to pull it out, they like to surprise you and come up and grab it. That's part of the fun of it, is it's such an adrenaline rush. Like that, right there. And it's not a chump fish either. It's got a good size to it. Not too bad. Good fish. Good pike. Very nice fish. All right, time to go. So I wanted to run through what I've got set up on the business end of this fly rig for pike here at Nagagami Lake. Off the fly line, it's a 9-weight, weight-forward floating line. I've got about 24 inches of 30-pound fluorocarbon with perfection loops at each end for easy switch out. Bite tippet material is 40-pound wire. It's very knottable, very pliable. And the fly I've got is like an 8-inch bunny leech with some crystal flash, some silver flash in it, and a slightly weighted head. Really, it's the weight of the hook. We're in shallow water here, so don't need a lot of weight, and just get it in front of these big pike and have a day with it. Fish on. Feels like a better fish. Throw him on the reel since he's out there. We've been fishing all afternoon. We've been getting lots and lots of pike. We have yet to tie into the monster. It's pushing a bit of water. A couple of short runs. Now they're good fish. Now they're great pike. Got some length to them. Yeah, he thinks he's a tarpon.
Lots of energy.
Lots of energy. There we go.
Nice weight on him.
Yeah. Hooked right in the corner of the mouth. Pop the fly out. Now, as you can see, I've got my fingers in the gill plate. I'm not touching his gills in any way. You never want to touch a fish's gills. Now, what I did was I actually switched things up. We're in a bay that runs a little bit deeper. I have access to water that's into the 20, 25 foot range. So what I did was, to my main line, I actually sunk an intermediate sink tip line, and then I put my bite leader onto that. So I can get down, I can count it down 15 feet in no time flat, and then start retrieving from a deeper strike zone area.
Coming up, we switch things up and go on an adventure into the backcountry. Brook trout fishing is brand new here at Nagagami Lodge. Well, the fish have always been here. There have been few anglers who come to target wild Ontario brook trout. Harold Pullen realizes there's a definite market for dedicated brook trout anglers.
Brook trout fishery is very healthy. Nobody has ever really targeted that market or that area on the lake because of the labor that it would take to do that. With us having that resource here, I thought now is a good opportunity to start to guide people up the rivers and try and offer that into our packages.
So we're going on an adventure, a scout, if you will, to see what the fishery is really like.
One of the great things about coming to a wild, remote fish camp is not only the offerings that the main lake has, such as great walleye fishing and northern pike, but with a little bit of a sense of adventure and a little bit of get out and go, you can have access to wild native brook trout via boat, float plane, or canoe.
First, we take to the air to locate water that might hold brook trout.
I've been up here probably 4 or 5 times. More so in July and August when things slow down for us. Yeah, which is nice. We just pack a lunch, come up. We pretty much do exploring, not much fishing. We bring the rods with us, and like for us, it's more or less just getting out, and spending some time together.
So people don't come up here and fish above the rapids all that much, huh?
No, it's a pretty secluded spot. Not too many people know about it because most of the operators want their guests to stay on the main part of the lake.
Right.
Just because of all the rocks and the rest of it. So some of us, if you're guided up here, it's not too bad, You can find a spot and come on up.
Well, unpressured fish means, they haven't seen flies. Yeah. That's good.
Right on.
All right, coming in here?
Yeah.
The benefit of seeing the river from the air is you can macro scout it and locate your starting point upriver. And getting there is half the fun, as you can then micro scout from a river level as you travel upstream. Keep potential spots in mind as you fish back down towards the mouth of the river. Time spent upstream allows for the fish you spooked in the downstream pools time to rest.
Yeah, so that first rapid we came through, there's a brook trout spooked out of there. It looks like it's perfect.
We come to our starting point and get positioned to try and figure things out. We didn't see any trout taking any bugs on top, so I decide to swing the run next to the big boulder.
All right, let's find them. That was a hit. 2 hits. Ooh, this is exciting. That was a hit. 4 hits. Okay, I think I need to make my streamer a lot smaller because I've had about 8 hits already and I'm seeing fish striking my fly. Yeah, I think my fly's too big. Already just 15 strikes. There we go. I knew they were there. I was really encouraged coming up here because as we passed a couple of these little rapids, I saw some larger brook trout being spooked out of the pools. So we decided that we would come up as far as we could go, and then we would slowly just make our way back down to camp. Now that is perfect. A perfect little brookie. So we're swinging flies with a white zonker on a 5-weight rod with a floating weight-forward line, catching tiny little jewels. Yes. When you're fishing a stream you've never fished before, that first fish is more often than not the most important fish you're gonna catch all day. Doesn't matter size, it doesn't matter any of that stuff. The first one is vital. It shows you, number one, that there are fish here, Number two, that they're feeding, and number three, they're feeding on what you're offering them. I feel the weight of the world has been lifted off my shoulders because I know, A, that there's brook trout here, B, that they are feeding, and C, that the white zonker seems to be the ticket right now. They're not feeding on top at all. Mind you, that said, I haven't had a hit in a little while either.
The main lodge at Nagagami has everything an angler would ever need, including a games room, satellite TV, and a small tackle shop. It's a great spot to gather after a day's fishing to tell stories about the big one that got away.
It's amazing to me that you can swing a white zonker, you can swing a fly through a untouched pool once, and it gets whacked 15 times. You catch a fish, and you swing that same fly through the second time, and you nary get a bite. So this white zonker is going to turn into an olive zonker, and we're going to see if they like the dark color now. There's a little better fish. So I switched to an olive and white double bunny with a little bit of a red throat, and became the ticket. Another quality brook trout. Let's pop the fly out. Oh, so good. Okay, I'm gonna move down and fish that deeper pool there. There's a good fish. All right. Here's a better one. We've been catching some little ones here. And that's a great show that, you know, there's a sign that they're naturally reproducing, which is wonderful. It looks like I may just have hooked a mama. What I'm doing is I'm swinging these pools. It's absolutely amazing to know that there are big brook trout here. Now, with these bigger fish, you never want to bring your fly line into the rod eyes for fear, for fear that if the fish takes one last run, you could snap your leader right off. All right, let me get comfortable here. The thing I love about these big basket nets is that you don't need to worry about the fish once you've taken the fly out. They're good to sit and relax and chill out while you get ready to take that photograph. So you can carefully pull it out of that net, get yourself ready, and get that money shot. Conversely, when you're releasing these fish, it's great to do it behind your leg or behind a rock so that they can sit in an eddy, and when they're ready to go, they'll let you know. See you, sweetheart. That is worth the trip, right there. Fish. Oh, it's better than the last one. We let this pool rest for about 5 minutes, had a quick sandwich, and I decided to switch flies up again. For some reason, these brookies are telling me that you can catch a fish on a fly in a pool and then the other ones won't touch it. So what I did was I switched from the olive and green to a simple cone-headed black woolly bugger. And 2 swings through and boom, oh, what a great looking brookie. Fish on, and I think it's bigger than the last one. Oh, it sure is. Yes. Fish in the hole. Hooked right in the corner of the mouth. Look at that. Just stunning.
Equipment used for Nagagami Lake pike was an 8-weight fly rod with a weight-forward floating 8-weight line with 40-pound bite wire leader material. For the brookies, I was using a 5-weight rod with a matching weight-forward 5-weight floating line, and the leader material was 6-pound fluorocarbon.
There's a good fish. All right. Yeah. We've swung a lot of flies through this pool, and I decided to do something a little dramatic. I put on a big black and white striped woolly bugger, and that did the ticket. You know, I actually was just thinking to myself, how many times does it take to swing a fly through a pool before you actually make a fish mad enough to eat? And sure enough, right after that, boom. Get them over in this slack water. You know, hardly anybody fishes for brook trout up here. They're wild, they're gorgeous, they're wonderful adversaries. Got him. Oh, barely. Just a great fish. This might be the fish of the trip. Get my tailing glove out. Isn't it always fitting that, you know, the fish of the trip comes on the final day at the 11th hour. You just pop this big fly out of your mouth, pal. Okay, flies out. And this is what it's all about. You know, that about does it for this episode of The New Fly Fisher. I hope you've enjoyed it. We caught some amazing fish. Just remember, adventure is out there. All you need to do is go out and find it. And what fun to be able to do it with a fly rod in your hand. Thanks for watching The New Fly Fisher. I'm Mark Melnick, and hopefully we'll see you in the backcountry.
The New Fly Fisher has been made possible thanks to Algoma Country, GoFishingOntario.com, Orvis Sporting Traditions, Scientific Anglers, Umpqua Feather Merchants, Superfly, fly fishing made easy.